It's the After the Show podcast, precious.
We don't care. We're about to swear on the air. It's the After the Show, so tune in if you dare. KVJ, get risque every single day. It's uncensored. We can say what we want to say.
Alrighty, hello and welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast. It's a nice little Wednesday. Moving through this week.
Yeah, I just forgot what day it was.
I know.
When you said it was Wednesday, I was like, oh, yeah, it's Wednesday.
Yes.
Feels like Tuesday because we were off on Monday. Thank you, Chris Stapleton.
Yeah, about that day. It throws it all off. And I will tell you, too, that we have got a week's worth now of South Florida Fair tickets I got to blow out in the next 2 days. So we're going to go South Florida Fair heavy starting tomorrow. So we'll have a lot of that. So if you're looking for those tickets, do that. And the other cool thing that if you are unaware, even if you don't win the tickets, I thought it's a cool idea that they're doing is you're doing the opening ceremony at the Ford Theater at 11:30 a.m. And they say you can get free admission to the fair for attending the ceremony. They do throw out a first come, first serve. So I guess they have a certain number of spots, but they say more info at southfloridafair.com. So maybe you can find out what that is. And say,
the room fills up. So get there early.
Any idea what the room might hold? You had to spitball it.
I'd spitball it around maybe 800.
Dang, okay.
Can we do that room instead of the room we're doing that has 5,000 people in it?
It's a different space. So this room, the Ford Theater is in the Expo Center.
I know what you're talking about.
We're in a tent. The Coca-Cola stage is in a big tent. Yes. But it's a massive tent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's where it used to be.
And look, I get it's a sponsor. I assume it's Ford, the automotive
That makes sense. Yeah.
I just feel like if you're going to do a place where people are going to hang out and you're Ford, let's not go theater. Let's go something else. Because all I think about when I think of Ford Theater.
Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. The whole time they're saying that, I'm going.
So, every time I say it, all I think about is our president taking a shot in the back of the head.
Yeah, I'm waiting for fucking Wilkes Booth to walk in.
Yeah. So it's almost like, even though it is what it is, it should be the Ford Pavilion.
Yeah. Dude, I thought the same thing.
Or the Auto Dome.
We must not have a lot of history buffs on this naming committee.
I guess not, because I was like, it's the Ford Theater, huh?
Oh, no.
I wasn't sure if they were doing that to be historic or...
Don't go, Mrs. Lincoln. Don't go.
Don't go, Abe. Right? Hey, don't you go.
The president of anything.
Mary Todd will be fine. It's Abe we got to worry about.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure she wasn't fine.
No.
That's a mess.
No, I don't think I've ever seen a picture or a painting or a portrait of Abraham Lincoln ever looking happy.
Yeah, they couldn't smile in those photos.
Yeah, it was because they had bad teeth, right?
Well, some of them did. But the thing was the way the aperture worked on the cameras is it took a little while. And so if you would make any kind of movement whatsoever, like if your smile changed, it would blur the photo and you couldn't really see it or make it out. Oh. So you had to sit there for minutes on end for it to take a photo. And so that's why they just realized we can't really smile because you can't hold the smile in the exact spot the entire time. So they're like, you know what? You can't smile. And that's why so many people look miserable in those earlier photos. You're like, was no one happy? Well, no, it's just the way they took the photos.
Also, too, it's pretty miserable back then.
Yeah, no AC, Kevin.
And they did have shitty teeth.
I'm sure they really would smile if they could.
So, yeah, but the cool thing is not only is Virginia going to be there this Friday for the opening of it, but then she'll be with us on the Coke Florida stage Friday, January 23rd at 7 p.m. We're doing an all-ages show.
That's going to be fun. Snack pack performance, all kind of silliness and fun and games that you hear on the radio, all the ridiculous banter and arguments, all live in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to leave out the song, Fuck You, Broccoli. We're not doing that song for this set. That's for an adult.
Is that a real song?
No, I'm just kidding.
Sounds like it's got a ring to it.
I know. I don't hate the idea.
I like broccoli.
Okay, it was a joke. They all don't land. I apologize.
Well, a couple things going down in the news. Scott Adams. I don't know if you ever heard the Dilbert comic strip.
I do know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I've just been seeing a little bit with him because he has been talking in the media since May about how he got cancer. And he was very blunt about it, basically just saying, okay, well, this is it. Curtains.
Damn.
Yeah, I know how it's going to end and about when. Now, I think he thought he was going to be tapping out in the summertime, so at least he got a little bit extra time. But they had just put him into hospice, and he finally did die at the age of 68 of metastatic prostate cancer is what he had. So if you don't know, the Dilbert comic strip was something that he debuted back in like the late 80s. He had launched it while working at Pacific Bell. And it was kind of like the earlier version of The Office, where he observed the inner dynamics of The Office and then started writing the comic strip based on that. And then by 1994, he was syndicated to over 400 newspapers, which think about all the people that used to do that as a profession.
I know.
And you're like, can you really be a comic strip artist now? Because you needed newspapers as your delivery vehicle. Before that, it was comic books. And I know it's not like they don't exist, but it's not nearly the kind of exposure it used to get.
The comic book world is still pretty darn popular, but I see what you're saying about the newspaper stuff. I mean, that's something people daily would look forward to reading. I mean, and loved the comic strips.
Right.
Get a newspaper, read them all. Mm-hmm. I just think it's a different delivery system now. There's still comics out there. There's still comic strips. You're just seeing them on the screen instead of the paper.
And it just doesn't seem to translate to social media really the way that it used to. I remember as a kid, you know, my dad was really into the comic stuff, and I would read comics. I haven't read comics since because it's a phone or something like that. I don't know if my son, none of my kids have really read comics or been a part of it, but I remember having some comic books when I was younger, and I know they still have their popular group, but it seemed like it was a default. Kids didn't have anything else to look at. And so you would see a broad base of kids looking at comics.
Yeah.
That you don't today.
I remember we bought a bunch of comics from a garage sale, a stack of them, because we always would garage sale. And in the middle of the comic section, there was a Peanuts, but it was a sex comic book. So Lucy's getting it from Snoopy.
What?
Snoopy's getting it from Charlie. It was a sex.
Whoa.
Yes. And I, as a little kid, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Potty mouth kid.
Clearly, they didn't have anybody hitting them with cease and desist like they do today.
No, I think it was more of somebody made it themselves, and it was kind of a parody of it.
Yeah.
And it was very sexual. Very. The thing Snoopy was doing.
Did your mom know that was in there with your other comics?
No, they were selling it, though?
Well, it was at a garage sale, and it was in a stack full of comic books. So we just bought all of the comic books.
So somebody did publish it, though. Like
I think,
for sale.
yeah.
Yeah, I goes to show you. Could you imagine doing something like that? Like if you did that with Disney, you know how quickly they would hunt you down?
So
yeah,
quick.
and who knows how much it was, the publication was it, but it looked like a real comic book, and it was graphic.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. There you go.
Too bad you don't still have that.
I know.
I feel like that'd be a collector's item.
I know.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Even if it was homemade or whatever, that would just be like, what the? You could get some weird shit at garage sales back in the 80s.
Still can.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Now, the thing about this dude who wrote the Dilbert cartoon, Scott Adams, never really knew much about him, but back in February 2023, he kind of became a bit of a controversial character. He had said some things that actually got basically Dilbert canceled.
Oh, boy, what did he say?
He called black people a hate group, and that was pretty much it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he was getting canceled right and left. I do remember he would have little comments, and he would fight it a bit. I'm like, you see those people always kind of got a little something to say. He was kind of one of those dudes.
Yeah, work with one of them.
I'm never going to double down on racist remarks. There's a lot of stupid shit that comes out of my mouth.
Yeah.
You will never.
I didn't mean it like that.
That's one you just walk away from.
Yeah, dude. I mean, how do you think this is going to go? Like, what do you think's good's going to come out of saying that?
Well, what year was this, too?
I think it was 2 years ago. Was it 23 that I just said?
Yeah, you're going to get checked.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, it was, bad era to do that. Yeah, it was February of 2023. I think he got caught up in, keep in mind, we had all that stuff. We had protests and you had the Black Lives Matter and you had a lot of stuff that had its people that loved it and other people that hated it. And, it was when we just first started fighting over absolutely everything.
There was a time period though where you can almost mark it down to where everybody started fighting about everything.
Yeah, what had eras? Yeah, I mean, you did. You work through the Floyd and then all those other kind of issues that were happening.
Well, you had #MeToo erupt. You had the George Floyd incident. Then you had COVID, and you had all of that kind of hitting right around the same time. Yeah, and it got heated.
Yeah, it was a crazy era.
You could feel it even in broadcasting. You could just feel it. It was different.
Yeah, it was.
It's never been the same.
Yeah.
I think all that stuff you just named changed all of us.
Yeah, you got to watch. I feel like it's leveling out a bit. I would say probably a year and a half to 2 years ago, I was scared a lot of times to say absolutely anything because it was just amazing. And how people could twist your words or try to find something in some deep meaning and something you just said flippantly that meant absolutely nothing. Like, how did you draw that to be that way? Or people were at a period where they were so easily offended about everything. And I think that's kind of leveled out a little bit where, some people have pushed back enough and said, you got to truly understand what an attack is. Like what was said is not an attack on you or your being or whatever. You're being way too sensitive.
Well, I know what you mean. It got to a point where you were afraid to even ask any kind of questions about certain anything because just by asking a question, how dare you? And I'm talking about so many different kind of categories that you were just, no matter what you brought up, you were a fuck face for even bringing it up. Mm-hmm. And that's not how you should communicate with people you live with.
Yeah, right.
Nothing ever gets solved that way.
So, I don't remember specifically everything that he had to say. I just remember that he became one of those figures that you're like, okay, watch out. This Scott Adams guy might be a bit hot and toxic with some of the stuff he says. And so I think some people backed away from that. Now, his wife gave a tearful statement about his passing. And I thought this was kind of interesting because you do see this a lot. The late in life Christian.
My English teacher always would say, she was a little bit older, and she goes, the older I've gotten, all the people who didn't believe in God, I'm starting to see them show up in church. Yeah. And I always say, what are you doing in here? They go, just in case.
Just in case.
My bases.
That's what
hedging your bets. A lot of people have done it, including the Dilbert creator. Here's a bit of what she had to say.
If you are reading this, things did not go well for me. I have a few things to say before I go. My body failed before my brain. I am of sound mind as I write this January 1st, 2026. If you wonder about any of my choices for my estate or anything else, please know I'm free of any coercion or inappropriate influence of any sort. I promise.
And she's the one that's reading all this. So she's announcing that all the money he left her, I was of sound mind. Don't question my will. I'm wondering when his wife penned this.
I was the inspiration of Dilbert.
I just wanted to be said, my wife, all the funny lines was all hers.
There was a big window, though. It wasn't like he wrote that on a Thursday and died on a Friday.
Yeah,
he knew he was dying for a while.
He did. So I'll believe this, assume it's all legitimate from Mrs. Dilbert.
Next. Many of my Christian friends have asked me to find Jesus before I go. I'm not a believer, but I have to admit the risk-reward calculation for doing so looks so attractive to me. So here I go. I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior and look forward to spending an eternity with him. The part about me not being a believer should be quite quickly resolved if I wake up in heaven. I won't need any more convincing than that. I hope I'm still qualified for entry.
Aha. Okay. So he's doing that late in life. Let me throw the Hail Mary and see if it sticks. Now, since, I grew up in the church and always had all these kind of questions, and there's a lot of ethical, moral debates that you can have, and it's fascinating. I love entertaining all of them because, you can read what's written in the Bible, but you a lot of times don't necessarily know. And so people would hit me up with that. I know one of the ones was, okay, you got a serial killer. He's about ready to be put to death. And he's like, all right, Jesus, I believe. And then he's like, take me to heaven. And you're like, does that guy really get into heaven?
I always asked that about Ted Bundy. When I was a little kid, I go, so you mean to tell me right at the last minute, Ted Bundy goes, please forgive me. I didn't mean it. I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. He gets away with everything, caused that much destruction. And he gets a free pass because at the last, right before the buzzer goes off, he asks for all forgiveness.
Right.
That don't seem right to me.
Yeah, trust me, I've always had that issue as well. Now, I think it's also beautiful in the sense where I believe that, hey, look, if you truly are like, man, that was just terrible, I think it's nice to know that you could have done it all wrong, and then you see the light and you're like, I just don't have a chance now because I've done too much crap in my life. I love the fact that, no, you can put your faith in it and it will vindicate you and you still have a chance even late in the last minute. But the one thing that I will say is there are 2 verses in the book of Romans, and it says that if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you confess and are saved. And that verse is very important because you can say it like he is, but ain't nobody but God gets your heart. And so just because Ted Bundy or Scott Adams says, I'm taking in Jesus, I'm all good, I'm going right to heaven, that doesn't necessarily mean you are, because the big test is God seeing your heart and saying, do you truly mean it? Or are you only doing this because you're afraid of burning in hell or whatever your belief system might be? And so that's just the one thing I would say to that, yeah, genuinely feel like this is exactly where I want to be. And if I wasn't going to die, I would still make this decision. And that might be the one thing God would ask. Be like, would you have said that or been that way if you weren't dying? Scott Adams, if you didn't have the ass cancer, are you going to be saying, yeah, I'm giving my life to Jesus? Because
he told you in that he wouldn't have.
Yeah, he kind of is.
He said, I didn't believe in any of this, but
I'm going to try
my Christian friends strong-armed me into it, so I just want to cover my bases because I know I'm about to punch out my eternal time clock.
So I kind of say this for any of the late-in-life Christians who think that this is my game plan at the very last minute. All I got to do is say it and I'm all good. The part where they talk about, God seeing your heart, that's the issue that I think you're going to have to deal with. And look, I never profess anything because your relationship with God is between you two and he makes all the shots. But I'll just tell you, there's that little caveat that I think you actually do have to mean it. And you're right. Everything he wrote in that statement is like you said, I'm only here for one reason, because they guilted me into it.
And I'm a believer when you do have a change of heart, not words, a change of heart, you can feel it. You know it in your spirit. There's no denying it. Your words will be just that. But if you really don't make a change in your heart or your spirit, deep down, you know that's true.
And just know God can smell a bullshitter.
Also, too, I think...
Absolutely. No, you're right. That's why they ain't no BS in God.
Right.
God gonna cut through it. He's like, he gonna see it. Yeah, I wouldn't want to play guards against that guy.
No.
He knows somebody's bluffing.
You better get your actions right, and it's not just about your words.
And I really believe if you've done evil things on this planet, you'll get criminals go, I really can't remember that. Or, I think everyone knows deep down inside what they've done, what they're ashamed of, whether it's murder or, there's a spectrum of things people do. I think most people really know deep down inside the sins they've committed.
Yeah. And you were talking about the feelings part of it. And I saw something that really sums it up and what I think it is. And this person had said, I believe in God the same way a blind man believes in the sun, not because he can see it, but because he can feel it. And that's the one thing I would tell anybody who gets into it. It's all based on faith. So there's no proof out there that God exists and anything else that was said is true. There's got to be that faith element. But what I would tell people is give it a shot, walk down the path, and see how you feel with it.
I like looking at, I just think people get caught up on the word God.
Yes.
It really is something where there's so much miscommunication about that. When I think of something spiritual or God, I think of nature. I think of the ocean, the trees, the mountains, all things that we can't do as people. That was here, something mystical and beautiful did that.
Yeah.
I know, I mean, I don't know any humans that can do that kind of stuff.
Right.
We take for granted that the sun's going to rise every single day. I mean, it does every single day. What if it doesn't?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's why when I look at all those things, you do come to the end. You say, I can't sit here and prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that God exists, but there are a lot of hints that I see in life, and that's why I believe the way that I believe. And I feel like if you're going to believe something and base your whole life off of it, you should be able to explain it. And when somebody attacks it, have a bit of a response for it. And if you can't, to me, I think you need to probably understand it a little bit better, especially if it's going to be your whole life and moral code.
I think what turns people off is when people come from a place of religion as if they know something more than you know. And it's almost coming off as, well, Kevin just doesn't get it quite yet because he's not quite there yet. And it almost comes off as, well, Kevin doesn't know and I don't know. We both don't know. So when someone acts like they have the all-knowing answers of the universe, I think that can rub people the wrong way.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I've met many religious dicks.
Yeah,
there are a lot of them.
They come from a place of knowing when you don't know completely.
You don't know. And you're also treating people horribly, and I'm watching you move through life and talk about how Christian you are, yet you're so mean and cold and callous and hurtful.
And that's where I would say to those people, look, this is the kind of stuff where God's separating and he gets it. He sees your heart. And I think one of the people that's going to be judged the most, and this is based on my own beliefs, is the people who, in the name of God, were persecuting others and doing all this horrific stuff and saying, you know what, you tried to say that wasn't me. That's why a lot of times, and I always talk, I grew up, there's a lot of terrible people that are in the church, still are.
Forgive me, for I have sinned, Father.
Yeah, and I don't think God's going to look favorably on those people, especially the ones that were in there. Like you see priests or preachers that have taken advantage, sexually abused children and things like that. And you used my church
to do
get
that?
Close to the... Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, if there is a judgment day and that all goes down, then good luck, man. That's going to be a rough one.
Amen.
I did think it was interesting because I know Stephen Colbert, he grew up Catholic. He's from South Carolina, and he always makes little jokes about how he taught Sunday school and whatever. Jimmy Kimmel the same way, and it's kind of interesting now that Colbert is going to be clocking out here in like 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
He's done. He has Kimmel on a good bit now.
Oh, he'll have another gig. He'll go the Letterman route where he does interviews one-on-one on Netflix or something.
I think he'll probably want it better.
Yeah.
he'll be okay. But he was talking to Jimmy Kimmel about this. They were talking about what is your belief in heaven?
What do you think happens when we die?
The two of us?
Sure, well,
you're going to heaven. I don't know where I'm headed. Okay, this is something I have thought about.
Okay.
And, we're both Catholic and, but I feel like there's just a positive energy field that you become part of. That's what I think it is. That's nice. We'll find out eventually.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think it's always fascinating to hear what people think. And look, you don't necessarily know. I mean, depending upon what you believe in the Bible, but if, it kind of lays it out. But even then, I don't know if you necessarily know.
Well, I just really do love to hear what people think because everyone walks in a different set of shoes and everyone comes from different backgrounds. Mm-hmm. And even sometimes you hear an atheist talk and they almost sometimes double speak and don't even realize that they are believing in something.
Yeah, right.
By not believing in something, you are still believing in something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I love having the conversation with people because I'm just open to hearing what your thoughts are on it, and sometimes it helps shapes the way that I feel about it.
And sometimes it can be abstract. I mean, for example, Okay, I've got audio of my mom and my Aunt Ann. Okay, they're no longer here on the planet, but sometimes I'll have my iTunes on and an old clip will play of their voice. And it's almost, it brings back a memory, and their spirit now is taking over my thoughts and the room. And in a sense, that's a form of spirit in a way. They're making, you're now, the way you're thinking, you're aligned with spirit. And for that moment, now I'm not saying that's, they're in the room playing the song for me, but it at least keeps you on that track of going, oh, people do live on even if they're not around. And you can do that with old artists that are from the 20s. You hear their recordings and go, I'm listening to something from 1920. And did they ever think back in 1920 somebody in modern times would be listening to something they recorded? And in a way, they've entered that realm of spirit from a certain point of view.
Sure.
Yeah. It'll be kind of interesting to see if all of life's mysteries will be revealed to us or if none of them, and you don't know.
I'll be fucking pissed if I don't get answers.
It's just a dirt nap.
I'm like, what the shit is this?
What was all this for?
I mean, why?
Yeah, you don't know.
Why are cows made this way? They have udders.
You don't know.
There's so much design and detail.
There's nowhere in the Bible that it's, in fact, it says the opposite. It's like, these things, do they need to be revealed to you, and will they be? And you don't necessarily know. I mean, it's up to God what you want to know, and who knows? I mean, maybe you get one thing. Maybe I'll give you one thing.
That's the ultimate M. Night Shyamalan ending.
You better not ask why cows have udders if you only get one thing.
That will not be my no. I'm going to be talking about other stuff.
You going aliens?
I want to see what's around the universe. Yes. I've got a lot of questions about what the fuck all this is. I won't say it like that. I'll be very more respectful. I get up there.
Really?
I wonder if when you get to heaven, if you'll be able to swear. Will there be a censor on it? Will you not be even remember these terrible words that happen? Will curse words not be anything? Would it be like going, it's just words. Why you guys have a problem with it?
Will you get your mouth washed out with soap like you did with the Do It bitch?
Well, I'll get so excited. I'm talking to God. I go, God, I mean, are we fucking alone or what? I didn't mean to say fuck. I'm so sorry, God.
Right. You don't know. These are all the kind of things, man. Who knows? That'll be fascinating. We were talking about the bar of soap thing that they used to do back in the day, and Justin said, I'm 50 years old now, but my stepmom used to make me bite down on a bar of ivory soap when I cursed, and she would then yank it out of my mouth where all the shavings would be on the back of my teeth, kind of like white bread on a turkey sandwich, and you couldn't get those shavings off for hours. I still cannot stand the smell of ivory.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was a thing. Yeah, that soap was really gnarly. I do kind of get the distraction on that.
I feel like if our parents tried to do that to us, we'd fight them back. Like, you're not putting a fucking soap in my mouth.
Yeah, today, I don't know if anybody's doing that.
I think you would get in trouble. Now, I know people, I can discipline my kid the way I want to discipline. But if you got caught having your kid suck on soap, I think that'd be a story. Don't you?
I don't know.
No.
I don't think it's punishing enough. I think suck on soap is still pretty mild.
I wasn't done. They get soap poisoning and the kid's in the...
Right. Well, you do have to check that stuff now because they put so much stuff in all these products. That was the first thing I was telling Denny's when I had. I'm like, just make sure there's nothing toxic in this soap. I mean, you don't even know.
You're right.
I mean, we don't even know what's in the food, let alone the soap.
I know. And they're telling us to consume the food. They're not telling us to eat soap.
I'm pretty sure there's the same things in our food that's in the soap.
Dead by Christmas.
Probably.
It's reset.
Probably.
It's reset.
Right. Yeah, probably. I do have a couple other emails here as well. Nina had said, the reason why smoking marijuana makes you anxious nowadays is because the dispensary flower, all the CBD has been genetically modified out of it. CBD is the chill part of the weed in the experience. I was getting super anxious and staying up late when I smoked it, and it was driving me crazy. I figured out that there's 0 CBD in most flower. In fact, I had to go to Sunnyside Dispensary to find flower that had CBD in it, and it's awesome. That's what's lacking, and that's what's making people crazy with regular dispensary weed.
Daddy!
The THC and CBD ratios used to be 5-1 or 2-6. With pre-rolls, they're 30 THC to 0 CBD ratio. So if you want the chill, giggly feeling back, just find weed products with CBD, and it'll be like it was back in the 90s.
I think that's what Denny's likes. And I can even tell you, I have gotten away for the most part of the oil pens, because some of them are just, and Denny's, you can explain it better, but some of the oil pens hit you a little bit different than regular natural flower.
It's true. So yeah, the natural flower, they're talking about a lot of these new strains are genetically modified to be specific to certain things people are looking for medically. Mm-hmm. So if they got anxiety, they'll take out anything that causes anxiety in that, so you can still get. But they're exactly right. In fact, if I ever buy anything, I always do either live rosin, which is just like an olive oil press. They take an olive oil and they heat press, flour until it turns into an oil.
Okay.
Because the other oils are cut with CO2 or butane. They use that in the extraction process, and I find that to be an irritant, so I try not to have any of that.
And the rosin, when you smoke that, it's more of the natural, but then you can smell traces of weed.
Well, it smells just like smoking a joint.
Where people liked the pens because without that stuff, because you could be at work and
they're discreet.
They're just you could smoke and no one would know. You couldn't smell anything. Right. But the stuff that Denny's likes, which he's let me smoke.
It's
it before.
The most expensive.
It's the most expensive, but it does feel it's the chillest of them all.
It is.
Do you think there's going to be a market correction? Because I'm hearing a lot of people, in fact, it was, I think even Matthew McConaughey last week was talking about how he can't smoke with Woody Harrelson anymore because he'll be climbing a tree and how crazy his stuff is. And I don't know where he is with it now, if Matthew McConaughey still even smokes. Clearly he used to a ton. But it sounds like he's almost realized that this stuff's too wild for me, and it's not where I'm set right now.
Well, this ain't your daddy's weed. They're constantly trying to find new ways to make marijuana just a little bit stronger,
They are.
just a little bit.
It sounds like not everybody loves it.
They don't.
I don't even love it.
Me and Denny's don't love it.
Yeah, I buy low THC.
It gives us, for the same reason you're talking about, it gives you anxiety.
Well, that's the problem. Regular flower, like you buy flower and roll a joint, you're looking at like 24% THC on a high spectrum,
Okay. What's considered high? Because I know alcohol by volume, that registers with me. I don't get what THC numbers mean.
I would say it'd be like 13% to 20%. 20% to 28% would be like your higher.
What do you think is quality? Like, where do you want yours?
I do like 14%. I like the low.
What was the one? There was one I think I got was 89%.
Well, these content.
Are you serious?
That's what I'm talking about.
You're talking 14 to 89?
Well, that's these concentrates.
That's insane.
They're in the 80s to 90s. That's why people are having like heart palpitations and stuff. And it's like, bro, because you're smoking
not a fun ride
almost 100%
No,
THC.
it's not a fun ride. It's kind of like when you drink too much and you start getting, it's just not fun anymore. That's how you got to find that fine, sweet spot because you will get anxiety.
First time I had an edible, I didn't realize that it was supposed to be broken up. It was one little gummy, like a Oreo type thing. And I just popped the whole thing and ate it. Like 2 hours later, I'm like, my God, I am so high. I didn't know where I was. I couldn't walk. I'm like, just make this end. It went on for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
My gosh, it was miserable.
The worst thing about eating an edible, if you've gone through a bad round of edible, you know what the beginning stages of it feels like.
Yep.
And when you start to feel those, oh, fuck feelings, you're going, I am in it for I'm in it for a long haul.
Right.
And it ain't going to be just
Pack
a 20.
lunch.
Yeah. And I'm going to be a little anxietied out for at least 2 hours.
Well, edibles will go for 6 hours. So you're in a ride. You have it's an hour uptick and then it's an hour downtick. You got 4 hours of just riding that out.
Dude, my buddy made me homemade brownies one time. And this is before, you could get edibles. So he made them himself. And he was known to make pretty strong edibles. But for whatever reason, they just weren't hitting. I ate almost the entire fucking plate. I go, these are a bunch of duds. This fucking sucks. They all kicked in right at Animal Kingdom. And nothing looked real, Virginia. It took me 15 minutes to know that tree they have.
Yes, it's beautiful.
I go, is it fucking real? Why does it have eyes then? If it's real, trees don't have eyes. What the fuck is going on?
They carved eyes into it.
They did.
Yes.
I thought it was real for about 10 minutes, and then I saw the eyes. It's got eyes. It was an awful experience. And like to your point, I did not get back to I thought my brain was broke for life.
Yeah, right. Yours like it's never going to end. It just goes, it was misery.
Oh, when it finally came back to normal, I ate the biggest churro.
I was panicked the entire time. The anxiety was through the roof.
Yeah.
What if some people don't go back?
It gets stuck like that? I don't know if anyone...
No, there are people, I mean, we've seen, I know with our dealings, have dealt with somebody where their kid did drugs and they are forever trapped in, what do they call it, K-hole? Or I don't know what the hell you call
ketamine
it.
would be different.
Yeah, drugs, we're talking hardcore drugs versus marijuana. And of course... Barbara Walters over here doesn't have all of her facts together.
Because I've done the work. I mean, I have almost no ceiling.
Yeah, there are some
I've never hit a
drugs,
point where it's ever.
And I don't know what it was. I know we were all together. We were talking to somebody that they had a child that had gone through that and was just forever trapped. I think it had been years, decades maybe, that they got high and never came back.
I know LSD will do that too.
Yeah, did they smoke a joint laced with LSD? I really doubt that.
Or maybe their
I don't
brain
remember.
chemistry was susceptible to it.
Yeah, we all went to that one place at one time, and we dealt with a mom and her kid was trapped in it.
Were there guns involved?
No. You don't remember we dropped off, I think it was last Christmas. Remember that, Virginia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Do you remember the situation? Was it a certain drug or?
I don't remember what drug. It was a combination of drugs. And
I think somebody had actually a friend that they had trusted.
Yeah.
Gave him something squirrely, thought it was going to be funny, and boom, that's it. And that's his existence now.
It caused permanent brain damage, and he actually was in a coma.
Yeah, see, that's not
Some of the kids didn't come out of the coma and died. And her son did come out of the coma, but he lives today eternally like he's 13, tripping balls.
That sounds like that was laced with something bad. I mean, am I off on that?
Yeah, I've not heard of that.
But that's just the crazy game of it all. But
Kevin will get an email tomorrow about someone that smoked the joint back in 78 and has stayed that way since 78.
Well, they talk about how some people are getting that scromiting, right? That scream vomiting from smoking too much.
The hell is that?
What is scromiting?
That's just what the internet's calling it. But I mean, again,
scream vomiting. I had heard about vomiting. Yeah, there was an email or an article I read
about. They're calling it scromiting.
Yeah, and I personally think that's where a lot of issues are coming from. Not everyone makes the pens on a high level.
That's true too.
So there's cheap ass pens you're getting that's tearing up people's throats, and it's causing damage, and it's causing scromity, vomity.
If you get it through the dispensaries and stuff, I mean, those are all from places that are sanctioned.
Yes.
Like you probably won't. I mean, at least I've never come across anyone scromited.
Yeah, we're not trying to after school special everybody right now.
Do you see a correction happening in the industry right now? Because what I keep hearing over and over again is people who even have loved weed, especially in the 90s, are like, I want my 90s weed back. Do you think that they'll return and try to start making it more natural the way it used to be?
So if you get the flower, I mean, that's as natural as you're going. I mean, you can just buy regular flower, low THC, and be fine. It would be just like getting a lid back in the 70s. You would have the exact same experience. But if you go with any of this high stuff, like the AK-47s and stuff, you're probably going to trip off it, man.
All the stories I'm hearing, it doesn't sound fun.
Especially concentrates are in the hundreds, 90% times.
Yeah, who wants this?
Then people are puffing on them for an hour, and then they start losing their minds.
Kevin, that's not what you want. Some people use that sometimes because they want to get outside the bubble, go to the edge.
Kind of like an ayahuasca type thing?
Just to see what else is on the other side. Maybe there's a creative outlet there.
You can go the full spectrum oils. If you're trying to keep it with the oils, I do live rosin or full spectrum, because then they reintroduce back in the CBD, they reintroduce back in the terpenes, because a lot of times they strip all that stuff so people can smoke in their offices and you can't tell.
Right.
But typically, like anything, if you're drinking or if you're smoking something, best case scenario, around friends, laughing, having a good time.
I say,
Not freaking out, not thinking you're not real.
Well, if it's been 30 years since you last smoked, and then you buy powerful edibles, and you're like, this isn't working, you eat a second dose, I mean, you're going to trip. Like, you're hitting your body with so much THC at once.
Yeah, you know what got me was that story yesterday I had in the Whacked Out News, that life coach out of Boynton. Did the ayahuasca thing and attacked the freaking guy that... I'm like, that's where that's why I wouldn't do. I don't know what I'd do. That would just be me, where I'd wake up and I'd be in jail and I'd be heading to court, be like, dude, you killed somebody. Be like, I did what?
The first lesson that life teacher taught was don't do ayahuasca. Because he's the one that did it, right?
Yeah, it was a life coach. He was because then I don't know how regular the guy is, but yeah, and I don't know about the guy who gave him the ayahuasca.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of variables.
Well, you know what? Because it's illegal and it's not regulated, so you have all kinds of screwballs that shouldn't be tampering with this powerful
and what's
stuff.
in it?
Yeah.
They're just renting Airbnbs and doing them now.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
That's how they're doing them now.
I'm like, who is doing this? That's insane.
Well, that's
to
what
me.
I was saying. That's not sanctioned.
And that's how I feel about
insane to
That's
me.
exactly how I feel like life coaches.
Yes. Insane.
But
That's what
ayahuasca is a big. It causes you to trip. You have vivid hallucinations, like a peyote, like another one that causes you to vividly trip.
Yeah, I'd seen a special on that. They were down in the rainforests, in the Amazon rainforest. They were talking about how they've been doing it for thousands of years. And they had some kind of shaman dude, just like anything else, like it was no big deal, like he was sipping tea. He just knocking back some ayahuasca and just...
Keep in mind, too, they probably have a tolerance for that as well.
Sure,
That's part of their culture, and they do that all the time. You're gonna build up a tolerance for that.
The Native Americans.
To me, drinking ayahuasca stuck in a fucking jungle, holy shit, that sounds horrifying.
Right? Yeah, the spiritual adventures with the Native Americans was done with peyote and stuff. It's a way to get you outside of your own mind, I guess. It's the healing aspect of it.
Yeah. They were talking. It was kind of fascinating with the ayahuasca because I guess apparently the whatever it is, the rosin or whatever, doesn't penetrate our membrane, so you have to put it with something else so it actually penetrates and gets into the mind centers that.
And a big part of it too, a lot when it comes to your ayahuasca, all of those trippy kind of drugs where you have a shaman, they really kind of focus on the death of the ego, really trying to make sure you kill your ego. And that seems to be the number one thing people come back and report to, going, I feel different when it comes to how I am looking at life now. I don't look at it like I did when I had a very egocentric mind.
And it does wear off. Because I know somebody who had a very big problem with ego, went and did that to get rid of the ego. It worked for a few years, but then they're diminishing returns.
Well, there's also...
So they got the ego
they
came
got
back.
their ego back.
But here's the thing, that I think once you go through something like that, I don't think you do ayahuasca all the time, but then there's practices you do after you go on an ayahuasca trip like that, meditation, reading scriptures. There's ways to keep that going, and if you're not doing the work on that, like anything, it's going to leave you.
Well, think about getting in a car wreck. Like for the next 6 months, you're very aware of that, and you're like, man, my life is so important. And then a year later,
you're driving with a bowl of soup.
Exactly. It's just the human mind forgets quick.
Soup and drive.
Wow.
That drive-through never caught on.
No, soup and drive. No, but I'm still shocked that in Louisiana you can go through a drive-through and get alcohol with a straw in it.
But they put a piece of tape on the straw.
Oh, yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
You fucking Raging Cajuns, you bite that shit off.
Drive-through daiquiri.
Oh, my gosh. There ain't no kind of label or covering that will get you away from a drink.
Louisiana's wild. That might be the only state that competes with Florida.
You're right.
Yes.
And wildness, just them coon asses and all those people running around that state, man. Y'all are crazy.
You are right about that.
Like, I feel like there's still some, I know there's not, but I feel like there's still 1800s cowboys in Louisiana roaming around.
And I feel like the stuff that happens in Louisiana gets underreported.
Yes, it does.
Everybody talks about Florida,
because
man.
we have sunshine laws that it brings everything into the light. That's why they call it the sunshine laws. Louisiana, it's trapped in the bayou, but I imagine that shit's 10 times wilder than what we're doing.
So you might not even hear some of it.
Yeah, right.
There's something with Florida where there's more access to getting.
Yes,
okay,
the
that
sunshine
makes
laws
sense.
we have. That's one of the reasons why there's so many Florida man stories. Now, a lot of the other stuff is true. I mean, there are factors that do make us more pronounced than the others, but you hear about the Florida man stories more because of the sunshine laws. That's why they're out there, which I welcome it. I like the stories.
I like
I'm happy
being,
we got
It's
it.
called content for the radio.
I like being from a fucked up state.
Yeah.
Who wants to be perfect?
Yeah.
I'm talking to you, the Dakotas.
Yeah.
You're boring.
Don't Nebraska my ass.
Yeah. What a wild ride this one was. It says we went from the Godcast to the Potcast.
Yeah, we covered it all.
From got to pot.
That's it, baby. Yeah. And a question, are we allowed to smoke weed in heaven? If we wanted to bring the two worlds together. It would be interesting to see. My thought is that you will feel so euphoric. It'll be like the ultimate high that you won't even be thinking about anything else because you'd be like, the way I feel right now, I'm good.
Just leave Elvis alone and people that have performed. Like, oh, when I get to heaven, I can't wait to see Elvis perform. That to me seems like Elvis's hell. He's like, I got to get up and perform again. Oh, come on, God, please no.
I died on the toilet.
Come on, hound dog again.
Come on.
That doesn't sound like heaven.
I'd say it's going to be a wild ride. One day to get there. And maybe at the gate, it'll be Scott and Dilbert.
Maybe.
I'd be like, I'm glad you made it, dude. I didn't know. Good to see you here.
We didn't know.
We didn't know. Glad you made it. All right, y'all. Thanks for being here with us. Appreciate all your emails. You can always send them to us, mail at kvjshow.com. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.